excited about some of these matchups. So the first one is Nick Ball. I believe it's the WBA featherweight title that he holds. He's taking on TJ Doheny. It's not the most sexy matchup, but it is a comparable opponent to Neo in a way, which I wonder, with Nick Ball being the smallest featherweight, is he angling maybe if Inoue moves up to challenge in a way? That's just me, making a hypothesis and a guess and just an internet opinion. But what are your thoughts on this matchup, and what are some of the storylines that you think are relevant for fight fans going into it?
I think with Nick, there's always been this perception of him that he's quite one-dimensional as a fighter. Like, he has his style. It's very much compared to other British fighters of yesteryear, as in Ricky Hatton and maybe even Josh Warrington. This sort of all-action, 100%, engine all the way through the fight from the opening bell to the closing bell of round 12 of a fight. And I think he's shown us that. The two significant moments of his career, of course, have come against the Ray Vargas fight and the Ray Ford fight, where he's won the title, where he probably arguably should have won the title the first time around against Ray Vargas, the WBC version. I think he's put himself on the map big time. I think this fight, I think you've nailed it, Luke, against Doheny, is a strategic fight. Like, Doheny brings a different type of challenge, but I do think it's been set up for Ball to maybe look comparable to what Inoue did in that fight. And obviously Inoue systematically broke Doheny down throughout the course of it, and I think we're expecting it Ball to do the same. And if you can do that in just as emphatic fashion as what Inoue's done, it's politically being lined up that if he does move up Inoue, that's going to be the marquee fighter to go to, as in Nick Ball. So strategically, business-wise, it makes sense for Nick Ball to continue and his team to continue to get these types of opponents in. It's also giving him the experience at this level as well, continuously, where he's preparing for a generational talent in Naoya Inoue. But I'm going to throw it back at you now, Luke, because there's been a few occasions where we've spoke about Inoue, and you've openly said you think he's on the decline. So, that being said, if that is the case, and Nick Ball, the younger man, maybe the arguably fresher man, if that was to be the case of why they're strategically planning it the way they're doing it, are they trying to catch Inoue maybe at the right time in his career?
Maybe. I don't think that it's that Machiavellian. I think it's really just uh he thought, like, they're looking at the landscape and it's in a way makes a lot of money. And if you fight a comparable opponent and have a comparable or better performance, then that gets fan interest in what would happen if Inoue fought Nick Ball. And then the fact that he's the smallest featherweight, who could realistically be a junior featherweight if, all things were equal. Um, I think that it's a strategic gamble, more so about opportunity and the way the division looks, more so than I think Inoue's falling off. I think that even if he was in his prime, they would still go this way.
I mean, it'd be a great fight to watch. Don't get me wrong. Whether it's a prime Inoue, whether it's a Inoue on the decline, whatever, Inoue goes in there, I think it'd make for a really interesting fight. I think well, if you're Nick Ball, you want to test yourself against the best, don't you? You want to go for the Inoues of the world. He arguably should have been a unified champion. He should have had that Ray Vargas fight. I felt he won that fight. I felt he should have got a decision. The Ray Ford fight, if anything, was closer and could have probably gone either way. But in my eyes, he should be a unified champion now. He's certainly holding the marbles. But what is the perspective over in the US of Nick? Because sometimes fighters from the UK don't always translate over in the same fashion. Even though to us, we've seen him grow and grow and grow as a fighter and ultimately get to this level. How is he perceived in the US if they was to make a fight with Inoue, for example, or a marquee name? Would American and Canadian fans look at him and go, he might be a champion, but I don't really know who he is?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing. So we will move along as we do in these fight previews. Austin Williams is